Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast.
Opinionated
Oh my gosh, I actually completely had a brain fart right there, and I was about to be like, I'm Andrea. Okay, anyways, I'm Andrea.
and I'm Morgan, and today we are going to talk about everything from motherhood and marriage, and most importantly,
All things reality TV. So let's get into it. First, how was your weekend, Miss Morgan? It's like
uh,
Christmas next week. Merry
I
Christmas, by the
know I'm so excited. I love Christmas. I didn't do anything. I can't even tell you if I left the house, like because well, I think we've talked about this before, but I solo parent, so
way. Hmm.
Nick didn't get to come home this past weekend, so it was just me and the girls. I don't think we really did anything. I took Quinn to get a new book because
Mm. Oh, that's cool.
she's in this book club. She's so smart. She
Yeah, I feel like you got Quinn doing all the things, the sports, the plays,
I
the
know,
academics. I'm like, dang.
and all the stuff. But
I
yeah,
love it. I love it. That's great. We had family pictures Saturday. And thank God because Thursday my little guy actually came home like throwing up and had that like little, it was really weird. Something's going around at his school. And I was like terrified that we were not going to be able to take our pictures on Saturday. And I was like, we cannot like reschedule.
hmm
Um, but he was great. They did amazing. And yeah, do you do family pictures?
we do. I usually do them myself.
Okay.
My dad was a professional photographer for a really long time, so taught
Oh,
me like how to properly take photos.
yeah.
Weird because I hate taking pictures, but weird profession to be in when you hate taking pictures. But yeah, we usually do them at home, but we're not going to be able to because we were supposed to do them Thanksgiving weekend.
Mm,
And Quinn was going to get her hair done that weekend. And I ended up having to reschedule her hair appointment. And I was like, oh, we'll just do them the first weekend in December. But then
mm,
Nick got scheduled to work in Georgia for
mm.
every weekend until Christmas. So he's not coming. He will be home Christmas Day
Oh, will he be home like on the 24th or like he comes home on Christmas
on
Day?
on the 25th.
Oh,
He's gonna leave at like 2 in the morning so he can be
oh
here
my
when the girls
gosh.
wake up. But yeah.
Wow,
So
that's crazy. Yeah, that was our weekend here. Are you done Christmas wrapping?
I'm not buying any presents for anybody.
What about your girls?
No, because first of all, we are on a really tight budget this year, but they have so many people outside of me and Nick who buy them presents every year that like
Mm-hmm.
they don't need our gifts. I'm gonna be quite honest. I haven't purchased gifts for my kids in a very long time. I might buy them one thing, like if I know they really want this one particular thing or something, but they get so many gifts from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
don't they don't need gifts from me. I give them experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So like, Christmas is magical because we saw the lights or we went to the Christmas
Mm-hmm.
play and we did all the things leading up to Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need 20 gifts from me. Like they barely play with the stuff that they have here,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So, no.
Yeah. And how I know Sage, she's so young that she probably and she's getting presents, but just Quinn, does she believe in Santa? Does she not believe in Santa?
She's never believed in Santa. She told me that Santa wasn't real when she was like 5. So I was like, okay. But she only ever asked for like 3 or 4 things anyway for her birthday and for Christmas. And
Mm-hmm.
she makes a PowerPoint and there's like
Mm-hmm.
a whole presentation to go with it. And then she sends it out to like the family. And so I'm like, well, you don't need 10 people to buy you 4 things. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah. So
She,
I have a question, which actually we're gonna change one of our questions that we're gonna
okay.
that we were gonna ask each other right now. But for Christmas to you, I feel like do you I was telling my husband and I've been telling my sisters about it that I feel like so I love Christmas, but I actually think I like more everything leading up to Christmas and like the lights, the singing, the food, just the vibes of like, just everyone's in a good mood. I like that more than the actual day.
Yeah.
Like, is that
No,
weird?
yeah, no, for sure. 100%. I think that makes sense because Christmas is an experience. So
Mhm.
the whole month of December is the experience of Christmas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Because
makes sense.
I didn't
And
know.
then once you open
Yeah.
the gifts, like it's over.
It's over. And like, I
Yeah.
almost feel like all that like stress that was building up, like it's over in like seconds. And then you're kind of like, oh, well, why do I feel kind of sad now? Even though
Yeah.
like it's a beautiful day and it's not that you're ungrateful, but like after Christmas is over, you're just kind of like,
No, yeah.
don't get me started after the new year because like the new year is like new year, new me, and I'm over here like new year, I'm depressed. Like what's happening? But you get
No.
what I'm saying? Like you get kind
Yeah.
of like off the holidays, you get off like you're so like high off the happiness, and then it's like and I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I feel
Yeah.
like crap.
It's a slippery slope downward. No, I totally get that. It's the same
Yeah.
way for me. I like all the stuff leading up because we don't even do like Christmas dinner. We have a big Christmas Eve dinner with like
Mhm.
some friends and some family, and so like it's like a huge dinner every year.
Are
And
you
then
doing that this year?
yeah, so my mom's friend hosts that every year.
Oh,
So we
that's nice.
go
I
to
like
that.
that. I like
And her daughter and I, like, we grew up real close, like we call each other sisters and
that.
stuff. Her kids are basically the same age as my kids, and so,
I
it's
love that.
great.
I love that.
But after that, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Well, we've been teaching so Robert his love language is gifts. Like
Hmm.
man, that boy loves gifts. He loves all the holidays, Easter, Halloween, like birthdays, like Valentine's Day, like because this kid is like I'm going to get gifts and he loves giving other people gifts too. He's always telling me, "Oh mom, I'm going to buy you this. Oh mom, do you want this? I'm going to buy you this." And I'm like, thank you. With what money, sir?" But like no. But his love language is gifts. So we're teaching him like Christmas is about quality time with family. It's not about the gifts. And we do give them gifts. But sometimes like a kid's got to remember like he's got to like be grateful and be humble and all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, so that was
That's
one of our
funny.
questions.
Do you give like an abundance of gifts for the kids, or do you have like
No,
a limit?
no, we have a limit. So for our kids, because also both sides of the family, they give gifts for the kids. And I'll be honest, Morgan, they have stuff from last year's Christmas that they still haven't opened up that is brand new in their closet. They're just not like at the age to play with it yet.
Right.
And I don't want to just buy them. And if parents do, if you're buying like a whole ton of gifts for your kids, by all means, that's like what you guys do. For our family in our household, we get them a few toys that they're gonna be excited about, but that's it. Um, and my kids do believe in Santa. And so they watch, have you heard of the Polar Express?
Hmm.
Okay, so I actually bought them last year. They love that movie, and I bought them the boxes of the little at the end when the kid opens up the ornament from Santa.
Hmm.
Remember that little jingle jingle? Oh my gosh, I'm such a kid. But he believes in it. But in our household, they get like a few little gifts or one big gift.
Okay.
Like they're both gonna share, and that's actually what's gonna happen for this year. Because they're gonna get a bunch of gifts from
Yeah.
family. Yeah.
Yeah. Sage got, so the younger one, Sage,
Hmm.
she got a dollhouse last year and we never put it together. So guess what she's getting for Christmas? It's
Wrap it up and be
still in
like,
the box. Like,
Merry Christmas.
exactly. And she has some stuff that like, because we were talking about couponing and stuff. So I had coupons like a bunch of toys. I had coupon a bunch of stuff in general last summer, and I took it to a flea market to resell it. And so whatever didn't resell, like we just kept. So like I had a desk that I never sold. I got like three of them and I never sold one of them. So I gave it to my brother for his birthday, which was in November.
Hmm.
And just like random stuff or like cookware, like
Hmm.
also gave that to my brother because he moved and
Hmm.
all this other stuff. So I
Hmm.
have like all these toys that didn't sell. So some of them were too young for my kids. I gave them to friends. Some of that stuff I was like, oh, look at that. Christmas presents. Thank you.
My kids have stuff from last year's Christmas and their birthdays of
Yeah.
last year's birthdays and this year's birthdays that like I feel like sometimes like it makes me sick with how much stuff that like they have that I'm like, guys, like let's limit presents. But then I don't want to tell family like don't give our gifts our kids
I
gifts.
ask
But
for practical things for gifts. Like if I realize like it's gonna be too much, like the grandparents is one thing because they're just gonna do what they're gonna do.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, like I'll tell them specific things. Like she
me
really
too.
like get her a gift card, get like
Hmm.
specifically Quinn. I'm like, get her a gift card to Chick-fil-A or to Target or to Starbucks or
And that's also stuff though that Quinn's into right now. And I think she's
yeah.
at the age where she's able to tell you, like, Mom, I want this or I don't want this,
Well,
which
she's
I
kind of
think is
been like
great.
that for a good, like ever since she was like 4. She was
Mm.
very articulate about what she
Sure.
wanted. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And
well, Robert,
she doesn't like an abundance of gifts. There was one Christmas in
that's
particular.
great.
I know, she's so weird. But
That's great.
there was an abundance of gifts given to her. Like she was she was probably 5.
Hmm.
And I was dating this guy and or maybe she was like 4. Anyway. Um
Hmm.
I was
Well,
dating this
before
guy
an
and he
age.
showed up on Christmas and he had a literal trash bag full of like just toys. Like he had gone to the store and bought all this stuff for her. And you would think she would be super excited about it. She had already opened her gifts that the family got her. And so when
Hmm.
he came and he brought his gift, she opened one and she was like, that's enough. It's too much.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
she
Wow.
didn't want to open anything
Oh
else.
my
She was
gosh. Not
over.
my son. Robert knows you ask what he wants. He's like, I want a unicorn. He's like, I want a guitar. He's like, I want a piano. I want a microphone. And I'm like, I
Okay.
said one thing, dude. But that's great. I love that. And I think Christmas is just to everyone it's a little bit different, you know. But for me personally, the month of December is Christmas for me. The
Yeah.
day of, I'm just like
That's
I
like
don't
your
know.
relaxed day. Like you've reached the finish line. Like Christmas Day is like you've been running this race and then you open the presents, you cross the finish line. Like
Yeah.
you're done. Like we don't do anything, we don't go anywhere. We're in our pajamas all day, living life.
Mhm.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like this though. And we're actually gonna move on to our recaps for our housewives. Because I want to make sure we have enough time. We haven't talked about Potomac in a minute, and Potomac is, I'm so glad that you just saw it like right now, right before this,
Yes.
because I'm loving this season. Mia Be Lying is just way too much. I just want to say that the way she has been, how do I say this? I was just kind of really sad to see how her kids are involved in this. And I don't know, like, I just don't believe a single word that she's saying. But like, this is going to live on the internet forever. And they're going to look back at this. And I'm like, are you okay with kind of how this is all being painted? Like, nobody believes you. Your cast doesn't believe you on and off the screens. The audience, like, I've never believed Mia from the beginning. What are your thoughts?
I believe her to an extent. I
This
know.
is great. No, this is great. This is why we chat. This is why we chat. Okay.
I believe her. I think that she is saying what is happening. I think she's just trying to I mean, I'm not saying she's innocent. She's definitely doing her dirt. I do think Greg has some like mental health
Right,
issues.
Gordon.
Or Gordon. When I call him Greg. That old man, you know what I'm talking about. Who is Greg? That's Karen. Karen's is Greg.
Ray.
Lord. Who is Greg?
Greg,
Oh,
Greg is Nene.
Kiarna. Kiarna. Is that her name? Kiarna K.
Okay, yeah,
Her
yeah.
man's name is Greg. See,
Oh,
somebody
oh, I
was
thought you
named
were talking
Greg.
about Nene Leaks. That I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that.
Nene's. I was see somebody is named Greg. Somebody. I didn't make that up. Okay, Gordon.
Yeah,
Gordon
Gordon.
has some mental health issues, and he's old. You old and you're mentally ill. That's a lot. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like just to be honest.
Okay,
Um.
wait. I have to pause. I have to ask you this. So, I
hmm.
believe that he has a mental illness, but do you feel that she's using his mental illness like to kind of paint a picture so she can kind of like get out of the situation that she's in. I believe 100% that he has a mental illness. But why hasn't she brought him to speak about that like on the show? But
Something
she's
you want to put out there that you're married to somebody who's mentally, and not like oh they're mentally ill, like they're a little bipolar, they're a little depressed, sometimes they act out. Like this man is not right every day. Like he really
Mhm.
should be in an institution somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that you would want to broadcast. I wouldn't want to broadcast it. And I am the type of person where like, okay, you remember this is such a tangent. You
Oh
remember
god.
when Khloe Kardashian was
Uh-huh.
with Lamar and then
Uh-huh.
like all that weird stuff was happening and then after Lamar left, that's when she was like, "Okay, I guess I'll
Yeah.
tell the truth." And everyone was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I think she's lying." But it's like I think there's just certain things you don't want to put out there,
Yeah.
you know.
Trust me, I actually 100% get that because I think you know me. I feel like I've told you before. I don't like airing out my dirty laundry because like it's just not me. I've always been very like I don't know, just super private about stuff that happens in like in my household. That's just how I am. And so I get that. I just think that I don't believe a single, not just about their marriage. I don't believe a single thing that comes out of Mia's mouth
For
because
real?
she's a liar. Okay, perfect example.
I feel like she just puts on.
But
I
that's
I
a
don't
lie. That's a
I
lie.
don't
Just
feel like
like
she like lies.
she's so thirsty to like be on the show, have fame and exposure. So, perfect example. Jack Jacqueline is her best friend. The first season that she came on, she remember they were brought up together. Her family took Mia in when Mia didn't have a home, whatever. Like these are sisters.
Yeah.
But she goes on that first season and treats her like dog crap, okay? And everyone's like, "How do you treat your best friend like this? Oh my gosh, blah blah blah." They make up, and in this season, she's back, and Mia's like always shading her in her confessionals of like how ugly like her like fashion is, which it is. But like as your best friend, like I don't know, like say it to her face, say it off camera. We're like, girl, I'm gonna put you right because like honestly, like your fashion like is questionable. But
See, I
instead, she's
think it
like,
makes it more real with her saying that, like, "Ooh, that's my girl," but no,
no.
she not trust.
And then in this season, currently, when Jacqueline starts tries to speak up for her, it wasn't good enough for Mia, and they walk away, and then Mia tells her like, go f. She's like, go f
Oh
yourself. You never
yeah,
have her
yeah.
back.
Okay, see, that did confuse me, but I just assumed that there was something off camera that happened that I didn't see. Because
No,
I was like, where did that come from?
I feel like Mia's the type of person where like how do I explain it? I feel like this friendship is so one-sided where like Jacqueline does whatever Mia needs her to do. That's why like Jacqueline, I feel like Jacqueline's in love with Mia, first of all. Like this is like it's a weird friendship. But I just like there's so much inconsistency there. And I feel like that's just Mia's pattern of like always being so inconsistent. Um, I just I don't believe
Okay,
the
so
girl,
that's
honestly.
Jacqueline's fault because if you know that she's like this and you let her go on, people only do what you allow them to do. So Jacqueline has obviously been allowing Mia to do Mia shenanigans. I
Yeah.
feel like
And
you just
then
have to accept people for who they are. Like, I don't like Karen, right? So if I know that Karen is like this, why would I get close to Karen and then complain about Karen being Karen?
that's true. That's true. That's true. And I feel like Mia
So
is like
that's
a
that's just
how I
me.
see her is like a good time girl where like, you're fun to hang out with, like to party with. Are you a real friend where I'm gonna tell you my secrets and like ask you for advice? No, I don't trust you at all.
Oh
How
yeah,
about
see, that's my problem. I'm an open book. I
oh,
just I just start telling stuff.
yeah, well, I feel like once I trust you, then I will open up. But I think I've just learned throughout the years that, like, I don't know, I don't want to tell everybody anything. How about last week's episode where Mia tells Giselle, like, well, I didn't say anything when, like, your girls were, like, sneaking in guys and you don't want to bring it up on camera. And Giselle's like, what does that have to do with, like, this situation?
I think she was just embarrassed and she was trying to like she was grasping for straws to say something about Giselle.
Grasping.
That was for sure unnecessary because no, she was trying to make Giselle look like she's not a perfect parent either. I really don't think she meant any harm to the girls. I don't think they really think about it when
Mhm.
they say anything about the kids. it really was a comment directed at Giselle and her parenting because
Absolutely.
Giselle was out of line for telling Mia, like, you're not protecting your kids. The reason I feel like that is because number one, you should never tell another woman that unless they're really putting their kids in danger. The
Hmm.
issue is that when you're a mom, but you're also trying to be a woman and make a decision for yourself, they overlap and those two things overlap and it becomes a huge conflict. Like I know I mentioned this before, like when I was a single mom, there were certain things that Morgan the woman wanted to do, but I can't
Hmm.
do because Morgan the mom
Right.
has to be
Yeah.
for Quinn. And
Yeah.
that's fine. That's the decision that I made, but you can't judge me for the decision that I'm making, especially when it comes to like dating or something like that, which I feel like Giselle should be more understanding with considering she's been single for so long. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So like, because one could easily judge her for bringing that man dang on near young enough to be her child
Oh
up in her
yeah.
house,
Yeah.
introducing him to her daughter. Like, girl, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, now you're
Hmm.
judging Mia, who spent a very long time dealing with Gordon and his shenanigans, right? And now she's like, okay, well, I really don't want to be with Gordon. I really want to be with this other guy. So I'm going to be with this other guy. And people are like, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Why not? If Gordon, remember last season at the last episode where Gordon had she said, Gordon, you locked me in that room and you took my phone and you wouldn't let me out. And at first I was like, that's crazy. Ain't no way he did
Hmm.
that. But he was like, yeah, you deserved it. And I was like,
You're like, what the? Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
one. Because I would have busted that door down. We would have been in there. Ike and
Hmm.
Tina. Ain't no way. I would have whooped his ass up, down, and all the way through. You not about to
Hmm.
lock me in a room. But that's a different story. My
Yeah.
point is just that I think Mia is trying to be Mia and not mom right now. And that's a
Hmm.
very like
That's it right
that's a
there.
difficult balance to try to
Yep.
find. Whether or not
Yep.
she's telling the truth, the moral of the story is she's divorcing Gordon and now she wants to be with Ink and she has
She's been with Ink, but that's the thing. She's
right.
been with Ink.
But
She's
now
been
it's out in
with Ink.
public and Gordon knew and Gordon was okay with it because otherwise Gordon could have left a long time ago. He
But I
obviously was
feel like
okay.
Mia painted like a lie of like their marriage. But I agree what you said. Mia right now is thinking for Mia, and I get that, and I don't know. I think I just like this story, honestly, like I feel for Mia where she's been so unhappy in a relationship with her man has been controlling her, probably put her down, like, but I feel like at this moment I don't feel bad for her because of how she's I don't know how she's portraying it on the show. I just feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for Gordon. Like I legit feel bad for Gordon. Like I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like this man like I don't know.
You
And
should
I'm
yeah.
usually always on the woman's side if I'm being honest. I feel like I'm never on the guy's side because I'm always like men suck. But like no, like I feel like there's two sides to every story and I don't know. I mean the season's so entertaining, honestly.
It is.
It's good. It's good. Um, but I think that's like pretty much what happened this past episode.
Yeah.
Um, and we could talk about Beverly Hills real quick. Did you watch last week's episode? You're like, let me remember.
There's only 3 episodes, right?
There's three episodes. It's the one where Dorit falls on the beach like
Yeah,
twice.
yeah, yeah. I watched it.
That was the best part of the episode, honestly.
Because what
Just
is wrong with her?
like I was like that second time she fell, I was like, was this on purpose? Like
Like,
I'm
girl,
just
pick
like
your feet up.
it's like how is Kathy Hilton able to play Duck Duck Goose and Dorit can't? You know?
I
And
can't.
it's funny when
Why
like
were they playing Duck Duck Goose? I would have
okay,
I would have said no. I would have said
I
no. We
know,
got to come up with another.
but it was entertaining. You gotta admit, like it was entertaining,
It's always
and
going to be entertaining when you watch a 60-year-old woman try to play Duck Duck Goose.
I just couldn't. I was like, what are they like? What like why? But in this most recent episode was where when basically Kyle and Dorit kind of have a conversation again at Oceanside the dinner, and Kyle trying to like clear the air a little bit. And then Dorit's gonna like once again be like, no, Kyle, I have a voice now. Like, let me speak.
I
Like,
think Dorit is just I don't think Dorit is trying to come to like any type of conclusion. I think she just wants to tell Kyle off.
Yeah, but she already did that in last episode. So like, girl. And then
But
she wants to
Kyle
throw
walked
it.
away, so she
And
didn't.
then she wants to once again bring up how her husband's an alcoholic, where it's like, I'm sorry, Dorit, you've been on the show for what, 7, 8 seasons? We've never heard you talk about your man's alcohol problem. In fact, you painted a picture that your husband is perfect. He's
I mean,
wonderful. He
I
has,
don't even think we've seen him like a little bit tipsy at like an event or anything, honestly.
and now third season, third episode this season, literally left and right, he's got a drinking problem, blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't like that. And I again, I'm on
Side
PK
with
on this.
PK.
I'm siding with PK. I feel like he's actually like logical, rational when he's having these conversations. He's sobered up and he realized that they're so toxic together that they haven't been happy in a very long time. What an honest and like raw conversation to admit that like we don't have it anymore. And she's like in La La Land.
He was like, "We talk 5 times a day," and he was like, "Yeah, no,
But it's not. We're not
yeah,
going
we're
to do,
not."
of course. Like, of course not, because you guys are going to separate. You guys are going to divorce. And she's just so
He's
like,
like, "What?"
what? Oh, and I wanted to ask because she mentions it at the picnic, and I'm going off, like, I'm just going off. So cut me in when you have to, because I feel like I could just talk about this. But when she's telling, when she's saying how PK ended up he got his own apartment, but he didn't consult with Dorit.
I was
Of like,
literally just about to bring that up. Okay, the way she explained it, it does make sense. I would be offended if that actually happened, where she was like, he was staying at a hotel and he was going to move to an apartment and blah, 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 blah. But he did the whole thing without including her. The I also would be offended if I didn't know. But then when I listened to her say it again. She said that she was helping him find an apartment and she was offended that he signed for one without like getting her okay, like without including her. That's the whole premise of being separated.
exactly. And I feel like if I'm being completely honest, right now as I'm talking to you about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I see a little of myself in Dorit, and I'm like, I just gave myself the ick because I need control when it comes to like we're scheduling like in my personal life with my kids, my husband, we have a calendar. And I'm like, if this is not on the calendar and like we don't discuss it prior, you know, we like to talk about things because that's how like we like to plan our weeks, our month, and we when we have
Yeah.
family stuff. And I get a little upset if we don't have a discussion before, and then Bobby will tell me like, hey, like he's like, I feel like you could plan things like, and like you throw it on the calendar, and he's like, when I try to throw something on the calendar, like it's a big deal.
I feel the same way. I'm also a control freak and I do the same. I'm like, what do you mean you made a plan for us? You
Yeah, and
can't
I'm
do
just
that.
like, and I'm like, no, but like you could go, you could do what you need to do, but like just make sure I'm aware, like I'm like it fits in the calendar. But I feel like Dorit is just so used to controlling everything. And I feel her, I really do. But in this aspect, like she doesn't have a say in where I think she wanted to pick his apartment, what city,
Right.
how many rooms, how many bathrooms. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
think that's what
Dorit,
it was too. Because she said, I don't remember if it was on the show or if it was on the after show, because I usually never watch the after show, but I've been watching.
I love after shows.
And she was like, her issue was that he was saying he wanted to bring the kids there, and he was like trying to make like a custody agreement, not custody, but like visitation or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and I guess, I mean, I also would not send my children to a place that I hadn't seen or whatever, but it's not your baby daddy. That's your husband of the past, like what, 10 years or something? Like, you just got separated 5 minutes ago. Like, just be like, I need to see this apartment, blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel like and this could be why PK is so sick of her, because she makes
He
things
is
a
sick of
big
her.
deal.
I believe everything that he said to like Mo and just in general. Like, I actually believe him.
Hmm.
They're so toxic to each other. And like Dorit can't even admit that. Oh, when she goes on camera and she goes, we would say really mean things to each other, like, I hope you, when she gave her whatever phrase it was, I was like, you can't even be real right here, Dorit. Like, let's just say you said to each other, you both want each other to like die or something like, I'm gonna choke you, whatever it is. I don't know, but we all know it wasn't great. And I feel like even right there, she can't even admit that. It's like she paints this like pretty picture, and it's like, it's okay. No one's life's perfect. No one's life is perfect. Um, but
Agree.
anyways, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the season. I do hope that her and like Kyle like find some sort of resolution here because
I
I'm just
think I want them to as well. I think that I'm a little disappointed in Erica, not because she took she definitely took Dorit's side on the
he
Kyle
definitely
Dorit
did.
thing. My issue with Erica is that she didn't try to find Kyle's side. Like she heard Dorit and she was like, "Yeah, okay, I hear you." And she's like, "I would be upset by that too. I don't know why she did that." Da 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 da. If you're supposed to be neutral, you can say, "Yeah, Dorit, I would be upset if what you're saying is 100% true." However, I don't think Kyle would just make that up and just randomly send you this text message. Like there's some context in between that you're not understanding. And I also think the way Dorit was describing it, her anger for Kyle is basically because Kyle didn't put all of her attention on Dorit during whatever time. The issue is
Hmm.
that that's the time where her and Mo were really going through most of their stuff. And she's
Yep.
also going through her stuff with Kathy, which I'm
Yep.
sure spills over into her stuff with Mo since Kathy and Mo don't get along, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I'm sure
Hmm.
it's all of that like piled on top of each other. Meanwhile, here comes Dorit with her nonsense issue. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I've had that issue before too, where like I'm really focused on this one really important thing, and then a friend will be like, "Well, you're not paying me any attention." I'm like, because you're not a priority right now. Like, just
Hmm.
to be realistic, you have to let people go through their seasons. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's
Yeah.
one thing if you don't know what that person is going through, and you're just like, "Oh wow, like she's acting kind of weird." Listen, if I knew Kyle was going through, like you
It's
definitely should know. So with her stuff with Morgan, that makes sense because Morgan was an unbiased third party
Mhm.
who had just met her and they, confided in each other. That makes a whole lot of sense. But for
Hmm.
Dorit to just be like, she didn't pay me any attention, da 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 da, and now Dorit is like, going off on her tangent when she really needs a friend. But now
Yeah, it's
you
it's
don't have one.
because Dorit lives in her own world. That's what it is. But I agree with everything that you said there, and I do hope that Erica ends up kind of, we'll just see. But so
Yeah.
far, loving the season. And thank you guys for tuning in this week's episode. And